Most people think fear is just a feeling, but sometimes fear becomes a magnet. The more you think about something going wrong, the more your mind starts preparing for disaster instead of success. And strangely, the thing you feared the most often happens. This is called Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. At first, it sounds negative, like a curse, like the universe is against you. But Murphy's Law is not about bad luck. It is about psychology, attention, energy, human behavior, and the hidden patterns of the mind. Imagine this. You are carrying a glass of water. Someone suddenly says, "Don't drop it." Now your entire focus shifts toward dropping it. Your muscles become tense, your movements become unnatural, and the chance of dropping it actually increases. This is how the mind works. Whatever dominates your attention starts controlling your actions. In the 1940s, an aerospace engineer named Edward Murphy was working on military experiments. During one test, sensors were connected incorrectly. The experiment failed completely. Murphy said, "If there's any way to do it wrong, someone will." That sentence later became famous as Murphy's Law. But over time, people misunderstood it. They started thinking life itself is designed to go wrong. That is not true. Murphy's Law is not magic. It is probability mixed with psychology. When you constantly expect failure, your brain starts scanning for danger instead of opportunity. Researchers in psychology call this confirmation bias. Your brain notices evidence that supports your fears and ignores evidence that supports hope. If you think people secretly hate you, your brain will remember every rude comment, but it will ignore kindness. If you think you will fail an exam, your mind becomes stressed, distracted, and anxious. You study with fear instead of clarity, and your performance drops. Not because destiny wanted you to fail, but because fear changed your behavior. A famous experiment at Harvard showed something similar. Students who believed stress would destroy their performance performed worse under pressure. But students who viewed stress as energy performed better. The situation was the same, only the interpretation changed. That is powerful. Your mind is not just observing reality, it is shaping it. This is why athletes train mentally before competitions. This is why public speakers rehearse success in their imagination. This is why elite military programs teach emotional control under chaos. Because the mind follows the pictures it repeatedly sees. The author Napoleon Hill wrote in the book Think and Grow Rich that fear is one of the greatest destroyers of human potential. Not because fear is evil, but because fear narrows vision. When people panic, they stop seeing solutions. A firefighter entering a burning building cannot afford emotional chaos. A surgeon cannot panic during surgery. A pilot cannot emotionally collapse during turbulence. The calmer the mind, the clearer the decisions. Murphy's Law becomes dangerous when fear turns into obsession. You start imagining failure repeatedly. Your body reacts as if the danger is already real. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tighten, your concentration weakens, and then small mistakes begin appearing everywhere. You forget things. You overthink simple actions. You hesitate. You lose timing. Then people say, "See, I knew this would happen." But they don't realize their fear participated in creating the outcome. There's another psychological phenomenon called the self-fulfilling prophecy. If a person strongly believes something will happen, their actions unconsciously move them toward that outcome. A student convinced they are bad at math avoids practicing math. Less practice creates poor results. Poor results strengthen the belief. The cycle continues. Fear creates behavior. Behavior creates results. Results strengthen fear. This is the hidden engine behind Murphy's Law. But here is the most important part. The law can work in reverse, too. If repeated fear shapes negative outcomes, repeated confidence can shape positive outcomes. Not blind positivity, not fake motivation, prepared confidence, calm awareness. People who handle pressure best are not fearless. They simply train their mind differently. They expect problems without emotionally collapsing because of them. That changes everything. A Navy SEAL saying goes like this: under pressure, you do not rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training. That means confidence is not created during chaos. It is built before chaos arrives. This is why successful people prepare for failure without worshiping it. They create backup plans. They organize systems. They reduce unnecessary risks, not because they are paranoid, but because preparation weakens fear. The more prepared you are, the less power Murphy's Law has over your mind. One study, published in Cognitive Psychology, showed that visualization combined with preparation improved performance dramatically more than positive thinking alone. Because the brain trusts action more than fantasy. You cannot defeat fear by repeating motivational quotes. You defeat fear through evidence. Preparation creates evidence. Discipline creates evidence. Experience creates evidence. That evidence slowly teaches the brain, I can handle difficult situations. And once the brain believes that, fear loses its control. Another hidden truth about Murphy's Law is this: life always contains uncertainty. No amount of intelligence removes uncertainty completely. Even billionaires lose money. Even champions lose matches. Even experts make mistakes. Trying to control every possible outcome creates exhaustion. Real peace comes from accepting uncertainty without becoming mentally weak. That is emotional mastery. The ancient Stoic philosophers practiced this thousands of years ago. Instead of pretending bad things would never happen, they mentally prepared for difficulties calmly. Not with panic, not with negativity, with acceptance. Because once fear stops shocking you, it stops controlling you. This is why mentally strong people often appear calm during crisis. Their mind is not asking, why is this happening to me? Their mind is asking, what needs to be done now? That single shift changes everything. Murphy's Law punishes emotional chaos, but it respects preparation, awareness, and calm action. So how do you actually deal with this law in daily life? First, stop feeding catastrophic imagination. Your brain cannot tell the difference between vividly imagined fear and real danger. If you repeatedly imagine disaster, your nervous system stays trapped in stress mode. Second, focus on preparation instead of prediction. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control your readiness. Third, separate possibility from certainty. Just because does not mean it will. Many people suffer twice, once in imagination and once in reality. Sometimes the imagined suffering is even worse. Fourth, train emotional stability. The ability to stay calm under pressure is a superpower in modern life. Most people lose opportunities not because they lack talent, but because pressure destroys their thinking. And finally, remember this: Murphy's Law is not proof that life hates you. It is proof that attention matters. Fear matters. Preparation matters. Mental focus matters. Your mind is constantly shaping your experience of reality. The person who constantly expects collapse moves differently through life. And the person who prepares calmly while staying mentally balanced moves differently too. One lives in reaction. The other lives in control. So the next time fear whispers, What if everything goes wrong? Ask a different question. What if I become strong enough to handle whatever happens? That question changes the entire direction of the mind, because strength is not the absence of problems. Strength is the ability to remain clear even when problems appear. And once clarity replaces fear, Murphy's Law stops feeling like a curse. It becomes a reminder. Prepare wisely, think clearly, stay calm, and never let fear decide your future. Shine more.